See y'all here. I'm glad we're getting a chance to do a Q&A session before the big turkey day arrives. So let's jump right into it and see how many questions we can get today. I don't know that we'll be able to do a full hour, but I'm excited to get as many questions and then always information from y'all in as possible. So let's hit it. All right. CB Toby. We got 1 of 4 here. Question on SMCS. On 50% migraines, 100% to, major depressive disorder, secondary migraines. I filed for 2 more conditions, tinnitus and scars. If they're approved, will I receive SMCS? You should already be receiving SMCS if no, straight up, I'm sorry. I haven't had all my coffee this morning. You're right. You need at least the tinnitus, which would bump you up to 60%. So if they are approved, then yes, you will receive it. All right, part 2. Only need 10% for, yep. Some people say yes, some people say no because my 100% is tight. Nope, that's incorrect. You get that 60%. It doesn't matter where the 100% came from. I've heard one condition 100% and separate conditions at total. Yep, that's correct. And the last one. Does the fact finder tend to find migraines, mental health to be separate and distinct? The fact finder doesn't get a choice here. If you are rated at those separately, that means they are separate and distinct. That basically means you have 2 different rating codes under which you're being rated. So they are separate and distinct. So you are fine on this. So yeah, I think we answered that. Thank you. And thank you for coming today. Nicholas, on my VA rating code sheet, I was denied under 5284 foot condition. I'm now claiming 5276 plus planus and 5269 plus, plantar fasciitis. Should I place those new claims on a 21526 EZ with my other new claims? Okay, a lot going on here. First of all, we got more. Or on a 0995 with my previous denied claims that I'm resubmitting. So let's go back to that first one. A lot going on here. Nicholas has done something that I really strongly encourage. He's gone out and he's got his code sheet. The code sheet is the sheet that the VA keeps on the backside of a rating decision. It lists any and all, how should I put this? Any and all claims you filed, the actual diagnostic code that it was denied or granted under. It lists all that's been granted first and then all that's been denied second. It gives you your combined rating and it gives you a history of the rating. So if you had a rating for a foot disability that was 10% 10 years ago and then it was boosted to 20%, it'll show that. So this is an incredibly important sheet that the VA finds so important that they don't want to send to you. So you need to call and ask for it. So Nicholas did great homework here by calling and getting it. And now he is deep into what he's looking at as far as his foot conditions. Nicholas, I think you should, there's what I think you should be able to do and what I think you should do. If that makes sense. I think since it's a foot condition, you should be able to put it on the 0995, which basically is saying that this is a reopening a claim. But I think the best way to do this is to put it on the 21-526 EZ. That's what you file for a new claim. And the reason why I would say that is just an abundance of caution. In theory, it is a new claim, but technically it's related to the foot, which you've already applied for. But I would just put it in there and I would write a letter about what distinctly those problems are. Great work here. Great research, Nicholas. If everybody could get a copy of their code sheet, I think it would put all of you in a better position to win the benefits you deserve. Sharon, how long does VES have to set up a C&P exam once the VA requests it? Got an email from VES 8 days ago saying they will call to set exam, but nothing yet. Should we just wait to hear from them? Yes, you should just wait. Harold, I have signed paperwork to have Hill & Ponton represent me. I have not heard from one of your attorneys yet. Any idea how long it takes to speak with an attorney to find out the best way to go? Is there a second part to this? Okay. Usually what happens is we get the signed paperwork, and then to hear from the attorney, we have to get a copy of your claims file, which we index. The claims file, again, is the file that basically has any and all information about your claims going all the way back to service. And then that will help us determine what claims we think we can win, what claims we might need to drop, and what claims we might need to add. So that can take a couple months for that to happen. So please be patient with us so that we can give you an informed discussion when we do call. Regino, I did file a claim that was denied and now it's at the BVA since September 22. How long do I have to wait for the result? Unfortunately, we're seeing, I've got claims there from 2019, 2020 that have just been slowly not worked. So you've got quite a long time unless you can ask for what's called an advance on the docket. You can do that for two main reasons. One, financially, you're basically at a problem where you're completely stressed out to the point to where they're going to turn the lights off. You're going into bankruptcy. The IRS is after you. There's creditors after you, and you can prove that by showing it. Or you have a terminal illness that's come on quickly. Or, sorry, I should say number three, if you are 75 years and older, you can ask for an advance on the docket. Advance on the docket cases get decided within months, whereas if you don't have that, unfortunately, I would say 2025, 2026 is what we're looking at here. MH, that could be me, Matthewville. Submitted supplemental claim with new evidence the past denied TDIU. The VA just sent me a forms 214142A and 218940, which I filed during the original claim. Why would they request that again? It's Thanksgiving. I'm trying to be thankful and kind. So I will just say they overlooked what you sent instead of just blatant incompetence, and they didn't see it. This is frustrating. You took the time to do what you're supposed to do, and they just totally ignore it. If you have copies, hopefully you do, of what you sent in before, just send it again. I mean, what we're doing here sometimes, guys, is playing a game, and their game is they don't pay attention to anything. And, we can sit here and be frustrated and not send it in and say, go look for it, and probably get denied, or we can send it in again. So I would send it again, but MH, I feel your frustration. In fact, I think this might be me because I think we're bonding here on frustration over ignorance. Sorry, I'm trying to keep it positive. Thanksgiving. All right. Posivep marketing. I'm confused. Should VA be paying me for PTSD since 2000 instead of 2004? Been fighting for years. It just depends on if you had a claim in 2002 that you kept on appealing, or you kept on submitting evidence within the appeal period. If you got a decision and it went for a rating decision, it went a year and you never put in new evidence or you never appealed, that's closed. You got a statement of the case. You had 60 days to put in new evidence or appeal it. If you didn't do that, that's closed. And then if you reopened in 2004, then they're going to pay you from that date. Wayne, filed for tinnitus. VA sent me to a hearing test a month ago, and now they're sending me to another audiologist. Why? They don't like the results for the first one. Hopefully that means the person didn't do a competent job. We can't really speculate here. A lot of times the docs will not read what they're supposed to, and so the VA just says we need something different. The only way to really find out is once you can actually order a copy of that prior C&P exam now. And then from there, you can determine, did they do what they needed to do? Meaning, did they give you a positive opinion? Did they actually write out reasoning why? Those kind of things you'd look for. If they did give you a positive opinion, I would submit that and say, I should be granted on this basis because you already have a positive C&P exam. And any other C&P exam that you're sending me is something you're sending to try to deny my claim, which is illegal. Vet, what do you do when old personal doctor records cannot be found anymore, over 10 years old, as evidence for a new claim? This is frustrating. What I do is basically state that, say the doctor couldn't verify these records, but you have the ability to talk about what your symptoms were. Vet or doctor's office will not write a letter. Either way, they don't have them. So this is where you write a letter saying whatever symptoms you have at continuance in service, that specify what the symptoms are, how they affect you. If you have loved ones that can attest to what's going on and what they've seen, that's very strong as well. So just because the records aren't there doesn't mean you lose. You just need to supplement with other information, and that other information is usually your statement and buddy statements. Ninja 100 Kid. Got 100% P&T using the old schedule rating 8 years ago, not mental health. Recently, I looked at the new schedule rating. It changed to 30% 4 years ago. How protective am I from a reduction? This is where I do not, well, they can always come back and try to reduce you, but the fact that your P&T is they're not supposed to look at it. However, if you apply for a new rating for this, if you apply for a new condition or increased rating something else, this is going to come up on their radar. So I would just stay as far away from the VA's disability compensation group as you can. So you have 8 years, you got 12 years to go till it's permanent, not permanent total, but protected. So can they come in and do that? Yes, but they don't typically hunt you out if you haven't gotten back into their system for some other reason. Barry T. Smith, VA lost my service treatment records and your firm is representing me. They sent a letter after going through the C&P exam asking for more evidence. My question is, can the VA be sued for negligence? Oh, I wish, Barry. I wish very much. No, they can't is the answer to that. The only real remedy we have is to go through the administrative system. Super frustrating. I hear you. But no, we can't sue them for that. Greg R. Filed supplemental claim in August 23. VA C&P exam was completed with favorable comments in September. The claim sits on the VA site as submitted in August 23. How long does it take for the VA to rate? I'm seeing longer and longer. It used to take them about 60 days. I'm seeing anywhere from 4 to 7 months now. So if it gets over 7 months, I'd start complaining to your congressman. Oh, I have multiple claims VA put together, even though filed separately. A few were done via ACE. I called Vera and was told some are done. Does the VA wait till all is done before the rating? They do it both ways. Sometimes they send it out if it's a grant and they do what's called a deferred rating for the others. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they wait to have them all done together. They don't have, how would you say that? They don't have to do it one way or the other. It's basically the rater gets to choose. All right, John B. Say you're 100% P&T, file IBS and GERD. Secondary, does the VA and e-benefit sites show that you're only 100% or the real total is 140% or whatever the total is? Thanks. Who fills out minimal residual functional capacity for SSI? My VA doc or Social Security doc? I would get one from your VA doc if you can, because he's your treating doc. That's strong evidence to show of how things are going on. Nate, let's go back to the first question, just so I know what I'm saying here. They don't show the real total. They show you what you actually are. So if you're 100%, then that's what they're going to show you. If you're 150%, they're just going to show you 100% as well. If you get to that 160% marker, like we talked about, then you can get permanent total. You can get SMCS on that. Twisted L, first of two. If applied for ANA due to mental health, will the VA rule me incompetent or not always? Have a lot of problems with focusing, completing tasks, remembering stuff, but I don't consider myself incompetent or a danger for that matter. I zone out a lot. My spouse just has to snap me out of it most of the time and keep me on track and remind me constantly. So incompetence in the VA world is limited to financial competence, okay? If you get your monthly check and you turn around and just, blow it off into the wind, just buy random stuff, are not responsible for, making sure you get your basic needs, your groceries, paying your mortgage, paying your credit cards, they would find you financially incompetent. If your wife is the one doing all that, you need to make sure you have a letter saying, I don't handle this, but because in our marital division of duties, my wife is the one who handles finances. It's not because I can't do it. It's because I don't want to do it, or she does it better. So that's the competency, not the other issues you were looking at. Robert Powers, if you get 100% and still having pending appeals, can they possibly have that 100% reduced? They can always possibly have the 100% reduced. But what you have on appeal is not the 100%, it's the other issues. So if you feel like those other issues can get you up to an additional 60%, then maybe you keep them on. If the other issues are, just tinnitus or scars and, you don't see an avenue to get you another 60%, you might just want to cancel them out and, get out of the VA's way. Caesar, If an HLR, higher level review, is denied, can I change original supplemental claim for compensation rating increase to TDIU? If not, can I file an HLR and intent to file now to start the clock on TDIU claim? WRT with the HLR, where do I list what I believe would be the original rate I overlooked his decision? Same form can I use for additional paper? Thank you for your help. All right, let's go back to the first part. If HLR is denied on an issue, the one avenue of reprieve you cannot pursue is another HLR. Okay, so with a higher level review, if you're denied for issue A, you cannot ask for another higher level review. You have to ask for a supplemental claim or go to the Board of Veterans Appeals. So I would not file an intent to file or a higher level review. I'd go ahead and file a supplemental claim on the issue. Now, that still means you get the original effective date going back to when you filed the claim that went up to HLR. Okay, so you filed the claim on the TDIU, you need new and not new and relevant, new material or new and relevant evidence to put on there, and you file it from there. If that is denied, that new supplemental claim, then you can go to HLR, higher level review again. You use the supplemental claim form is what you want to use. And then on there, you can list what you thought was overlooked or not considered. Another step. Good to see you. As always, thank you for your time. We get new information every week that has been beneficial to us and our friends and family. Any updates on Camp Lejeune claims? The only updates I have is that they're talking about doing trials starting in the federal court, starting late first quarter of next year. Now, obviously, they also have this administrative process that people are going through where you can get a quick payout for your disability. I am very suspect of that because they're on these disabilities, they're paying people not for the significance of their disability, but for the amount of time they were at Camp Lejeune. Okay. And why that bothers me is if you can have something like Parkinson's and you have the inability to use your arms and your legs, you can get $150,000. That's utterly inadequate because that's for the rest of your life. Okay. I'm not a big fan of the administrative process. The only place I would consider that is if you had a disease and it's no longer active and the docs think, hey, you're good here, then yeah, you could take the money and go with it. But I think they're just trying to buy a bunch of people out of the program. And that really scares me because this is going to take a while. And so if people are quick to get money, they can get it. But, we're talking the difference between, 50, 60, 100, maybe $200,000 to what I would think will be millions of dollars. So I would wait in the administrative process until those first couple claims go through in the federal court and see what kind of damages they get there. Sniper stun guns. After the VA grants you service connection for heart disease and hypertension, how long should you have to wait for the regional office to issue your rating decision effective date? Thanks for all your help. You should not have to wait more than 60 days. If you're waiting more than 60 days, you need to get on the phone to the VA, say, hey, what's going on? What's the problem here? If they have to send you to a CMP exam because this is an original grant, then that can take a little longer. But if they granted an actual percentage of the board, then you should be getting that right away. Oh man, Railroader retired. Good to see you again. It's been a while. I just want to say thank you very much, Helen Ponton, and all you do for me and my family. We wanted to wish you and yours happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. And we appreciate your comments and your questions on here. By the way, while we're doing this and we're looking for questions, if people would just throw up their favorite dishes on here, what you guys are looking forward to most tomorrow, if it's food, if it's family, just let's just get it going here, what we're thankful for. I'm thankful for my family. My family's going to be here. My brother, who lives out in the West Coast, is flying in. I have not seen him since COVID. So I'm really excited just to see him and catch up. And I'm also thankful for sweet potato casserole. That's my favorite thing. It's the one time a year I get to eat dessert for dinner. So anyway, yeah, throw those in the comments so that we all know what people are thankful for and what's exciting you. All right, back to the questions. MOG. Question, good morning. If a mental health disorder criteria changes and I'm already at 70% for PTSD, will the VA upgrade me as I meet the 100% criteria in the new rules be implemented. You're going to have to ask. You're going to have to put in a claim for that. But from my understanding, the 70% should go up to 100% now. Ned Flanders, 1 of 3. VSO claimed 19 for me in April. I retired July 5, denied 14 referred. They sent me back to redo CMP exams for the 14. Provider said he would use data from the first CMP exam. I got a copy of all the exams. For my back, he used maximum number of range of motion. He did not use previous numbers. He never even used the plastic gauge. He also had me out of the military in 2021. So several of my DBQs have diagnosis after. So they appear as if I was out of service. Should I upload the letter? Thank you for all that you do. Yes, I would upload both. Yes, upload a letter about all the errors you saw and what you think was missed. And then also any other evidence you have on this, and upload it quickly before they make the decision, because then you can take that to a higher level review. Once you get a decision, higher level review is only going to look at the evidence that was submitted already. So you want to make sure you clean all that up before it goes there. David, good morning. I have a decision soon on the VA website for my appeals, showing that we filed a VA Form 9 in May 2020. They're working on July 2020. I have a 34,236 appeals in front of mine. I have 34,236 appeals in front of mine. Should I even expect a decision soon? They are putting out 100,000 decisions a year. So take it with a grain of salt. So that would, oh my gosh, I'm doing math again. That would be a third of the year. So a third of the year is probably about 4 months if you're lucky. Those numbers to me go up and down from what I've seen as far as numbers in front of you. So, it could come way down, then all of a sudden it's way back up again. So, 4 months to 6 months, hopefully you get your decision. Nanya, hello, can I receive TDIU as a retired service member 20 years? Yes. I receive about $27,000 in retirement pay. That doesn't matter because that's passive income. It's not active income. You're not going into work to earn that every day. Will this take me over my annual poverty threshold? Doesn't matter. It's not. It's just retirement pay, and that can't count against you. None of your business. Oh, that's good. I should have read that whole thing. Great name. Twisted L again. 1 of 6. We're trying to set a record here, Twisted. It's good to see you again, by the way. Really long one. I might need to hire HMP. I was rated 10% static for mental health in 11. Narrative stated in the exam 1 suggested moderate difficulty in social and occupation impairment. So to me, that shows at least a 30%. Some of the symptoms noted fit 70% and suggested 50% according to their wording, but exam suggested 30%. VA asked for ACE exam, where exam 2 stated that I fit 10% more likely, and my STRs and VA evals did not show much of a degree of impairment that exam 1 suggested, even changing my diagnosis to include non-rateable diagnosis and stated that I seemed to be no symptomatology and tested that I was diagnosed shopping. The narrative then stated they felt that the exam 2 evidence had more weight and granted only 10%. After 12 years, do I have a case or an option to overturn this rating? Yes. Or should I just go for an increase? Well, I would go for the increase first. My mental health has gotten worse, and the condition rated is aggravated by other mental health conditions that are secondary to my lower back: pain, depression. Last one, anxiety, insomnia. How do I get these claims secondary connected to my lower back if I have a DSC for another mental health claim? You just file them. You file them and say, I have these that are secondary. Now, you're not going to be rated for both, but if we're saying that the insomnia, the anxiety, the depression due to the back is worse than what you're getting service connected for already for the mental health, then that would be a higher rating and you would get that higher rating. As far as what you should do for the other issues, I would go ahead and file an increase for your mental health total, right? And then maybe you file those secondary claims as well. And what the VA does is they have this, I think it's about a 5-page DBQ for mental health increase claims. and it lists everything that's going on. And then they have one question that talks about your social and occupational impairment. And whatever box is checked there is the box the VA used. That is wrong. You need to go back through those and say, okay, great, that box was checked, but I have anxiety, I have suicidal ideation, I don't bathe often, I forget names, I forget people. Whatever else is in there, you need to put in there. And where you're going to find that is you need to go to the diagnostic code itself. I don't know it off the top of my head. Nate, why don't you throw those up and go ahead and put in there and say, this is the problems. These are the problems I'm having. And see which of the diagnostic codes that meets up with and put it in there. The whole diagnosis shopping, that's just a C&P examiner at their worst. Those people really, they just make me sick. They're supposed to be there helping vets, and what they're doing is trashing them. If you have a treating doctor saying you're having problems and the VA examiner comes in one time and says, oh, no, this guy's just looking for money, that's a bunch of nonsense, okay? I don't think that can be undone because there's plausible evidence that makes it, takes it out of the realm of Q, which is clear and unmistakable evidence. Unfortunately, whatever the doctor said there counts. So even though there were all these other problems, if they said it was just a mild or not even a diagnosis, then we can't get around that. But what you want to focus on now is getting that higher rating and, saying, here's the issues that are going on. Take that C&P exam that you get this next time and say, here's what, here are all the other issues that are listed in C&P exam, and here's why this should be a higher rating. And then, put in for the secondary issues and see what happens there. Positive marketing again. If K and S are paid on top of your compensation, why don't I see it? After the PACT app claim, all I see is SMC. I am P&T since 04, been getting 100%. That's it. S is not paid on top of 100%. S is paid in lieu of 100%. So it is about $350, $400 more a month. But what they do is they just pay you at that rate versus paying you the 100% rate. Ks are paid individually. So, you can get, I think 7 or so different Ks, and each one of those will show you an individual. On your payment, you'll see it. And on your code sheet, you'll see it. But you won't see it on the rating itself. Carl, can you connect diabetes secondary to sleep apnea? I believe you can. You're going to need a doctor to help you on that, though. Marilyn, how come we don't need evidence on our disability to ask for an increase? Will they look at our records and our medical records from the VA? Yes, they will, and they'll get you a C&P exam. Angelina, my husband as NSA passed in June, 22. Okay. I don't know off the top of my head, but I do believe NSA is considered for VA benefits. And if that's the case, and he passed away due to something related to his service there at NSA, then you should be entitled to what's called DIC benefits, but it has to be related to service. Wayne K. How I had C&P last Monday for hearing loss got increased in a week from 30% to 40%, but I believe it should be higher as my hearing loss and tinnitus are shot. Test was a joke. 15 minutes. Options, higher level review. That's exactly what I do. And I would argue in there, you can't submit new evidence, but you can argue why you think it's higher. Nicholas, how does the VA rate 2 forms of cancer at the same time, thyroid and melanoma? If they would rate them as whether they're active or not, and if they're not active, then they're going to rate the residuals of each. Clark, decision dated 4/29/23, rated under diagnostic code 9400, which is currently 0%, is increased to 50% effective August 2022. How do I get an increase? I think it should be 70%. You got to appeal. I would appeal a higher level review, and you need to have reasoning as to why you think it should be. The reasoning you'll find is under the diagnostic code, which you've already identified. Go and look and see what your symptoms match up. Look at the C&P exam, see if there's matching of symptoms for that higher rating, and go from there. Bamboo Pandolify. God, Never going to get that name right. Good to see you again. Good morning, Matt. Just wanted to say we are thankful for all you and HMP do for vets. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Clinton, have you had any success with central auditory processing disorder? Just recently had my CMP exam with VA evidence in my favor. Audiologists say it's a rare condition. I have heard of this condition, but I got to tell you, Clinton, I have not represented anybody with it. It's intriguing to me because it seems to be a way to get a higher rating on a hearing loss or tinnitus case than their normal awful diagnostic code. So, Clinton, this is again where you can help educate us. Let us know what this looks like when you get a decision. Let us know how you do and what kind of rating you get. Best of luck there. Winner. When I went to an exam for my PTSD and don't know what to expect, I'm very worried about it. I can understand that. Those exams are not the most friendly and they can be bad. You can already go ahead and ask for a copy of it and see what they said on there. Otherwise, you're waiting for the decision to see what the decision says about the exam. Hector, can I submit a TDIU with a claim already submitted? Yes, and on file. Yes, and it should be attached to that claim, as in not a new claim. Twisted Elegant. Where is it referenced that a veteran does not need to meet all the symptoms of a criteria code to qualify for a specific rating? And does it also state that the VA should grant the higher rating in the question? So it does. Yes, on the second part, they should grant the higher rating. I don't know offhand. 38 CFR 4.1 talks about what kind of basically says the VA has to maximize ratings, and the way they maximize it is look to what is the highest rating you meet in part or in total, and therefore that's what I would say. But you don't have to meet them all. I mean, you probably don't meet all the ones you have right now, and if you read the diagnostic codes, they usually speak in terms of this or that. If you see one that says this and that, then you would have to meet both of those. But most of it is examples of what would qualify you for that rating. Another step, do I need a nexus letter for secondary service connection if my civilian provider included a nexus on my DBQ form in their marks block? No, you shouldn't. I think you're going to have to wait and see what they say. If they do say something and just ignore that, then I'd say, look, this is where he said it. And as long as he gave reasoning for it, he didn't say it's secondary, but he said it's secondary because this is known to cause A is known to cause B or something to that effect. That should be enough. Michael, I love your picture. That's very nice. I had a VSO tell me that my DBQ I got off the VA website for mental health is no longer used. Does that make sense? They are changing them constantly. If you download the latest one, hopefully you get it. That does not mean it isn't valid evidence. Okay, just because they changed their format doesn't mean that whatever is put on there, if you've had it filled out, is invalid, because it still should speak to your symptomatology, still should speak to how severe it is, and if it's related to service. So even though it's outdated, it doesn't mean that they can just automatically throw it out. Steady Betty. Gerald here. Good to see you, Gerald. Is there a difference between board examiner levels? The quicker, please. Gerald, I'm not quite sure what we're talking about here. If we're talking about there's 3 lanes going to the board to get your case reviewed. There's the evidence lane, the hearing lane, and the direct review. Direct review, they're saying, should be handled within a year. It's not, but that is the fastest one. You can't put any new evidence in, but it's the fastest review. Evidence lane is supposed to be the second fastest. And then hearing lane, forget about it. If you put your case in the hearing lane, 5-7 years, maybe, until you get a decision. That's basically where a claim goes to die. LG, good to see you. I'm trying to help my dad file TDIU. Any advice? He's currently at 90%, 170, and 160. Thank you. Yeah, if dad's not working and these issues are preventing him from keeping a job, okay, so I don't care if he's smart enough to get a job or he has all the credentials. If he can't be there in the work week like he's supposed to be, then that's a problem, and he shouldn't be able to work. So I'd file the 8940, send it in, and just say, this is what's going on. Remember, age is not a factor. The VA can't say, oh, he's 85 years old, of course he can't work. That's not how it works. The VA, in their own regulations, state that they will not and cannot consider age. Another step, I was denied sleep apnea 10 years ago. I was recently awarded service connection for rhinitis. Am I going to file again for sleep apnea secondary? Can I use the same buddy statements over 10 years ago? You can. I would also on there put that I was service connected for rhinitis, and I think this is the reason why I have it. L. Dave, does hyperthyroid have to be diagnosed in service for MST PTSD? No. Amiche, good morning. What are my chances of winning at the BVA for PTSD with a VA psychologist and outside psychologist diagnosis? I'm currently on meds for PTSD from the VA and have completed their CMP classes or CTP classes. Well, if you have documentation both from VA psych and outside psychiatrists saying that they believe it's related to service and saying why, I think you have a very good chance. Another Steph, I never discussed or asked help from the VA for any of my claims. Nexus DBQ. The VA is my only care for OSA. Should I get help from them on the claim I'm working on, or should I find a civilian doctor? It never hurts to ask. If they say no, then yeah, find a civilian doctor. But if you're putting this in again, the VA should give you a CMP exam. Wait till after the CMP exam to get a civilian doctor's opinion on that. David Cervantes. David, if a higher review sends you a letter asking you to send more evidence and they say you have 30 days or they'll make a decision with what they have, is this the total question? Then you need to send that in. I think what they did is they sent it back to the rating board saying there was insufficient evidence, and they're getting the rating board to look at it, but then they also want to give you an opportunity to put information in there as well. Wayne, how do I obtain a VA code sheet? You can call in and ask for your records. That's kind of the best way. Sometimes if you go onto your VA benefits page, you can download it there. I've seen that done. I think is it My EA Benefits. If we could get people to put in comments how they've gotten it before, that would be great. Because I don't know offhand. I don't have access to veterans logins, but I think VA e-benefits should have it on there. And that's where I've seen veterans get it before, but you can also call and ask for a copy. JP, loan certificate denied because of length of service, although I'm service connected. HLR abuse still denied. What should I do? If you believe it's incorrectly denied, I would go to the board. And if you think you have all the evidence you need in there, then I would go the direct lane. It's going to take a while, unfortunately, but that might be your best bet at this point. Angelina, submitted documentation to the VA last August, but still pending decision for my survivor's claim benefits. My husband passed away June 22. What's your suggestions? What will I do? That's over. What are we looking at here? That's a year and several months. I would just start calling. I'd call your congressman as well and say, hey, I need a checkup on this claim. I don't understand why it's still pending, and what can you do to help me get it through? Set the hook. Currently filing for PTSD with a stressor in Iraq during deployment. Will I need a nexus? I have diagnosis, but not service connected. Thank you. You will get a CMP exam on this. Okay. So get the exam, see what the exam says. And if the exam is unfavorable, then you are going to want an outside nexus. But if it is favorable, then all you're talking about is getting the correct rating. Ed, I filed a claim in 1970 and lost, but in 2018 was accepted. Can I file for back pay to 1970? If you filed an appeal back then and they did not acknowledge it, then yes, you have a pending claim. If you filed evidence within the year that claim was denied, then you still have a pending claim as well. If neither of those things, the only option you have is a Q claim, which you have to show through clear and unmistakable evidence, basically that it's not debatable, that you should have been granted back then. Really, really hard threshold to meet. So get a copy of your C file, see what was filed within the year of 1970. John Noor, happy Thanksgiving to you guys. You too, John. Thanks to you, I got 100% permanent and total for my heart condition. You're full of information. Thank you very much, John. That makes my Thanksgiving. Thanks for sharing. That's so glad to see. Get yourself out of this VA system and go on and live your life. And I commend you for that. Thank you for your service. I'm glad you got what you deserved. It's nice to smile on these instead of always being a little bit bitter. So I'm glad to see that it's working for some folks, and the incompetency and the just delays that VA has is not all we're talking about. So thanks again, John. All right, sorry. USMC Vet 9600, one of three. First filed claim 21, scheduler CMP was not able to attend exam due to COVID-19. Did not call to let them know, was denied, but in the denial letter reference exam with supposed in-person information. Just received my C file and there are DBQs said exam that I attended. Also, doctor is based in another state, thousands of miles away. The checkbox is checked for an in-person exam, was for knee injuries, stated information that could not possibly have happened. What's my path forward? If I figure supplemental claim, yes. How do I get that? How do I get the LHI exam thrown out? I would submit that you had COVID and you did not attend the exam, neither in person or telephonically, because they're going to say, oh, we telephoned you, because that's a bunch of nonsense. And just say this exam was inaccurate because it said I was there and I wasn't, and clearly it's mistaken, and you are entitled to another exam. Star, with TDIU, you can't make more than $14,000 per year for your own income, though, right? You can't make over the poverty line, so whatever that is now. I'd rather get 100% permanent total. Can you do a supplemental claim a second time? Yes, you can always file a supplemental claim as long as you have new and relevant evidence. Barry again, since VA can't be sued when your case be recommended or go before the highest board of appeals, you can always appeal up to the Board of Veterans Appeals once you get a decision in the regional office. Johnny, I finally received my C file. My code sheet says my disabilities are static. What does that mean? It means that they should not be changing. It means the VA is not going to automatically set you for a CMP exam. They still can set you for one if you file for an increase or you file for something else related to that. But what that means is they should keep it the way it is unless you proverbially poke the bear there. BMS 0064, one of two, after a bad CMP exam, the veteran, one, files a memorandum of record on form 21-4138 detailing why the examiner is bad, and two, reads the MFR to the VA, three, lodges a formal complaint, and three, requests a new CMP exam. Is there anything else that can be done? If a new CMP exam is not scheduled, is it best just to file for an increased rating that was underrated? I think you've done a very good job there as far as outlining what they did wrong. If I would go to higher level review and say, this is why, due to all these reasons, I should be getting a new exam. If they deny that, then I'd ask for a supplemental claim, submit some kind of new and relevant evidence. That could also be your statement saying why it was wrong, the CMP exam, and then hopefully you get another one there. Marcel, my claim was forwarded to the Office of Administrative Review after requesting an advance on the docket. Is this a good sign that my original claim will be overturned? This is a sign that they're taking your case seriously. I cannot speak to whether it will be overturned or not without understanding the merits of your case. LG, I thank my family and Macaroni and cheese and football. Oh, football. I forgot. We'll have some games tomorrow. I'm medically retired May 1, 2023. Received my 100% P&T on October 11th and lost my mom on the 14th. Still thankful all the time with her. Oh, that's an up and down there, LG. I'm glad for the VA benefits, but VA benefits they just pale in comparison to mom. So I'm sorry for your loss, but your attitude is uplifting. Thank you. Caesar again. I have one symptom listed 100% formula and unable to work except in a protected environment, but receive 70%. Shouldn't I get 100%, not TDIU? I would argue for it. 100% under mental health that's what I'm assuming we're talking about here, is very hard. Those are just so much harder to get than TDIU. If you're in a protected environment, you can get TDIU and still work though. So argue for the 100%, but know that if you get TDIU and you lay out why it's protected, your work environment, then you should be able to get that as well. Does age affect the reduction in benefits? If you were reduced for benefits, no. Kenneth, can I submit new evidence on an independent medical opinion order by the VBA? Yes, you can rebut it. You can send in your own statement, do whatever you want. Roy, thank you, team, Carol, Matthew. Like the poet Robert Frost wrote, we have miles to go before I sleep. Sincerely, Roy Valdez family, 4th Squad Leader, Platoon 2119 USMC. We're thankful for you too, Roy. Roderick, can I file OSA secondary to lumbar strain due to obesity? Yep. Grace, retired in 04, rated 40%. I receive retirement pay in the VA disability compensation. Can I file for Social Security and the VA not reduce retirement pay or VA compensation? Yes, those are not active. You're not actively being paid for those. Those are passive income. Okay. So if you have passive income, then you should not be compensated against. If you're getting Social Security disability, if you're getting what's called SSI, that does offset. SSI basically just means you didn't work 5 of the last 10 years. Twisted L, number 7 on the 1 of 6 earlier. So if I file an increase for mental health and get awarded for a higher rating, does back pay come into play? If the 12-year rating is overturned, should I have H&P evaluate? The back pay really is only going to go to the date of the new claim. Okay. It really only goes back to when you applied for this claim. And unfortunately, again, if you have some evidence in there that you submitted new evidence within the appeal period, or that you submitted an appeal that they did not recognize, then yes, you can get it. You can get it back till then, but that's, you need to look at your C file to see if that happened. Vondi, I have a claim for caregiver that was recently denied. I applied for caregiver 2 years ago and was denied then also. Is it true once I am approved, I can get awarded back to the original filing date? If you keep on filing supplemental claims and appealing within the appeal period, then yes, you can. Robbie, could you define active RE cancer? So when they say cancer is active, they want to see that you're using some kind of systematic therapy. So chemotherapy, radiology. I'm missing the word here. Geez, guys, I'm so sorry. So it's chemotherapy, whatever the other main one they use, I apologize. Any kind of systematic sterilized or steroids that they use as well. Those are all medications they'd use to say it's active. Okay. So if they don't use those and you still have a doctor saying, hey, he has active cancer, we cannot treat it because it's malignant and there's just no sense in treating it. That can also get you 100%. But when you go into remission, when there's no active symptoms of the cancer, then they're going to say, you're going to give you 0% for that, and you're going to have to rate the residuals. Why can I not think of that? Oh, gosh, sorry, guys. It starts with an R. I know that. Miss Y, excuse me. Should I file record headache, migraine, secondary service connection, depression, or primary based on couple headaches, DXR, my STR when I was seen for cold, strep throat, etc. I'd file for both. It doesn't, you want to attack this from all angles. That's what I would do. Teeny. Since I claimed exacerbated PTSD and my CMP examiner said not related to my service because I had PTSD prior to joining, but it was exacerbated, shouldn't the VA accept exacerbated? Yes, they should. That should be getting you a rating there. Looks like it might be a second. Okay. Thank you to the VA team. Great info. Gobble. Thanks, Wayne. I haven't been seeing any favorite dishes or favorite things about Thanksgiving. Let's see if they're out there. Oh, my markers and my records of depression and not following orders, and Army recommended discharge due to the aforementioned. So that to me shows that you had some problems, mental health issues going on, and you should be rated for it. Okay. Since I claim exacerbated PTSD and CP not related to my service because, this was the first one. So yeah, that would be one that I would say it got worse due to the service. MJ3000, homebound benefit. Do you qualify for this program if you're TDIU permanent total? Yes. If you have issues leaving the house due to basic things? Yes, you do. Bruce, can a vet apply for migraines and sleep apnea secondary to tinnitus at the same time? Yes. In other words, migraines cause sleep apnea. Yes. File it all at the same time. That's what we always say. Jay Hines got denied for lower back after reading what the CMP examiner stated in the statement. This person clearly lied about what I stated. What can I do now? Feeling so angry. Your anger is justified. It is royally boils my blood when I see the VA examiners do that. You need to write a letter saying, I reviewed the CMP exam. I attended the CMP exam. I told the CMP examiner this. I do not see it reflected in the notes that he wrote. In fact, it's either the opposite or whatever else he stated, and saying this was an insufficient CMP exam and I deserve another one. Wayne, is it true that a nexus letter and DBQs are not needed for presumptive conditions under PACT? You do not need a nexus letter. Now, a DBQ, Disability Benefits Questionnaire, speaks not just to the nexus, but also the severity of the disability. Okay. So you are going to need one of those to get the proper rating for your disability, but you do not need to prove a nexus. Gene, I'm thankful for my family. They helped me a lot in the last 2 years while I was waiting to be approved for TDIU. I love stuffing with turkey gravy. That's my favorite too. That's what I consider not the dessert part that I'm eating. But I love turkey gravy on stuffing. That's hard to beat. Thanks, Gene. Positive V marketing. I sent my last two claim decisions. Spoke with Tina Shaw. Should I send all decisions from 2000? The VA has a lot of denying PTSD claims in the past. If you're talking about to us, then I would just submit whatever claims you currently have. That would help us figure out if it's something we could help on. Thanks. Accurate Fire. Can a congressman help my claim move through the system faster? A congressman can bug the VA. If your case is ready to be decided, it will help you move faster. If your case is just sitting there because it's not ready to be decided, it won't necessarily do it. But I always recommend to do this if you've been waiting longer than you should be, just to try it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Alec Y. Peripheral nerve condition, CMP, service connection, bilateral extremity radiculopathy. How would you interpret? Impact work marked yes with following statement. Mild impact with prolonged standing, walking, sitting. Okay. So how would I interpret? That means to me that you should be getting a rating for, this doesn't say, it says bilateral extremity radiculopathy. I'm assuming that this is your legs. So you should be getting a rating for your right leg and your left leg. As far as the mild impact for prolonged standing, walking, sitting, I'd want to know what kind of work do you do? Do you have to be up? Are you UPS truck driver? Are you sitting in a cubicle all day? does this impact your work? If you're sitting all day, is it hard to sit? If you're walking all day, can you just not do it anymore? I'm asking that because you might be able to get a rating up to TDIU with the help of a vocational expert, basically saying you cannot do these jobs with this restriction given by the VA C&P exam. That's powerful evidence right there. John, can I file for SSI when I'm 100% due to unemployability? SSI is a dollar for dollar reduction for any kind of money you're getting. So you would not get any money for SSI. Do I need a lawyer to file a Q case interested? Ed, you don't need a lawyer to do this, but you just need to understand it's a very difficult claim. I mean, I file a handful of these a year. I've got hundreds and hundreds of clients that I work with, and I'm filing 6, maybe 7 at most. It's just extremely difficult to win these cases because the odds are just stacked so hard against you. So yeah, you can talk to a lawyer to do it, or you can just, look and see what was done back then and if they really did have evidence to deny you, even if that evidence wasn't accurate. If they did, you're not going to win. If they didn't have any evidence, then you have a shot. All right, let's take a couple more questions here. Moji, first to 2. Beware, prepare. I put in a new claim and rep with little knowledge stripped my aid in attendance. The rep said I did, but had a singular 100% service-connected injury. It took 6 months, but I had to explain I had many injuries, total of 440 points, and I was incorrectly told the VA made a clear, undisputable error. I fixed them with higher level review. Thank you. I'm glad you were able to get that fixed. And higher level review is a potent way to do that because you have typically better individuals making those decisions at the higher level review. Alex, hello. If I get approved for TDIU, can I still file for claims for my back? Yes. PTSD and other illnesses that I have. Yes, you can do all that. Just make sure that you're going to be getting a high rating, because if you're already getting TDIU, unless you can get another 60%, it's not worth your time. Turbo, VA concedes peripheral neuropathy due to AO exposure, but no service connection because not early onset. Any recourse? Yeah, I would file for, Oh, this is hard because apparently one I'm understanding is you don't have diabetes service connected here. These are hard cases. We fight these tooth and nail, but basically peripheral neuropathy should be considered independent of anything else service connected due to Agent Orange. But the VA just hates these cases and they fight them. And so we have to go out and get expert witnesses. Sometimes you can't win, but a lot of times you can. And so you're going to have to fight this, unfortunately. As far as recourse, you need to get a good medical doctor who could talk about the difference there. Star again, I missed all my C&P exams and got denied. File supplemental claim, included my DBQs and Nexus. Is that enough to file? Yes, that's a heck of a lot to file for supplemental, and that's good evidence. They haven't called me back for C&P. It says they are waiting on reserve records, but I wasn't in reserves. I would write them a letter and saying, you're waiting on something that's never going to show up. I was not in the reserves. Please make a decision on the evidence I have already submitted. All right, 2 more. Accurate fire. Why does SSI make faster decisions in the VA when it comes to claims and appeals? I don't know. They do. I guess their system is a little bit better, even though they have more people in it. It would be great if the VA could learn from it, but they don't. BMS 0064, 1 of 2. Are essential tremors considered presumptive under the Camp Lejeune water containment health issues? I know that Parkinson's and Parkinson-like diseases are considered to be presumptive conditions, but I'm unsure of essential tremors because there's no VA diagnostic code for them. Could a veteran claim them under the diagnostic code VA DC 8515? So if that is the diagnostic code for Parkinson's, yes, you can. If you get a doctor saying that I believe that these are a Parkinsonian disorder or could be considered Parkinson's, then I think you do get that presumption there. All right, if we have any other good Thanksgiving meals or pies. I'd love to see those. Frank and Melissa, sweet potato pie, and grateful for family in Hill Pond. Thank you. That's great. Agent 2017, happy Thanksgiving. Sweet potato pie is the best part of the meal. How do I file for an earlier effective date? You can't file independently for an earlier effective date. It has to be during the pendency of your claim. So there's no freestanding claim for an earlier effective date, unfortunately. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. And again, we at Hill Pond wish you a happy Thanksgiving. We love working on vets claims. I love doing this and just seeing that vets are winning claims on their own, frankly, as they should be able to, because this is a system that's supposed to be veteran friendly. But as I've always said, knowledge is your best friend. The more you know, the stronger the claim you're going to have. Get that code sheet like Nicholas did, be able to look and figure out what they did, what they didn't do, and fight them back. Don't just sit there when they give you a bad CMP or when they don't get all the evidence they need.